80 years ago, this brooding plateau behind me was the scene of a huge protest, which led to the birth of the Right to Roam movement in Britain. Find out where I am in just a moment. On today's show, I'll be helping a couple buy their first house together in the countryside. At the start, we have grimaces over taste issues.
It's rendered, and I have a distrust or a concern about what rendering hides.
But later on, their faces are a picture.
Look at you. Oh, chings, like it belongs to you already.
Today we are in the Peak District, and behind me is Kinder Scout, which is the highest point in the moorland. And also, this was where, in 1932, 400 people gathered for a mass trespass because they were angry at the local landowners who would not let them walk on their land. 5 of them ended up in jail, but their action did lead to the formation of the Right to Roam movement, and eventually to the creation of the national parks, the first of which was this one, the Peak District, formed in 1951. Now, I'm going to be looking at conservation projects on this beautiful hillside later on in the show, but take a look at some of the other great things in this area. 3/4 of the Peak District National Park falls within the county of Derbyshire, which itself forms part of the East Midlands region. Spanning an area of 555 square miles, it's visited by 10 million people a year who come to experience the Peak District's dramatic landscape, which varies from remote gritstone moorland to undulating pastures ring-fenced by a patchwork of dry stone walls. The countryside here is complemented by an array of historic market towns, such as Ashbourne, whose affluence during the Georgian era is still visible to this day and counts over 200 listed buildings to its name. The 18th century architectural jewel in the crown, though, has to be Chatsworth House. Built in the Palladian style, it remains the historic home to the Dukes of Devonshire and is one of England's finest stately residences. Let's talk prices, because if you're looking at Derbyshire, which is the largest of the counties in the Peak District, then the news is pretty good. The average price for a detached house here is £197,000. That's £58,000 less than the national figure. But looking at the Peak District as a whole, a very beautiful part of the country, then it's a bit more pricey. Realistically, a detached house here is going to be upward and above of £400,000, particularly around areas like Bakewell. Although if you drop further south to Ashbourne and Matlock, that premium does drop away. So a great variety of prices and also of property styles. This 3-bedroom cottage in Bakewell could be yours for £295,000. Dating back to the 19th century, it has been sympathetically modernised throughout and a conservatory added. This robust 4-bedroom stone house in Buxton is priced at £365,000. Its cosy living room benefits from the rustic warmth of a wood burner, and it has a modern light oak bespoke kitchen. At £650,000, this substantial stone property in Bakewell provides 2 houses in one. The main part has a large country kitchen chock full of character and exposed roof timbers in one of its 2 bedrooms. And next door is a 1-bedroom holiday cottage, which gives a ready-made income. With all that variety, you can see why it's a popular place to live. But let's meet the couple who are hoping to make the Peak District their home. Graphic designer Gary and Hannah, a pharmacist, live in the town of Stockport, 6 miles from Manchester city centre. It was an internet dating site that brought them together.
I approached him because I want to fit his criteria on age, because he's my toy boy, only just. I decided to join for a trial period, and it was the best £35 I ever spent. I think it was a bargain at the price. And I decided to keep him after his warranty ran out as well.
Oh,
so it's good. On to a good thing.
They've now been together 8 years, yet have always lived apart. However, with the cats in tow, they're now ready to commit to buying their first home together.
We're definitely convinced that we're compatible, so
Nice.
so we thought it might as well be as good a time as any is to actually make a new start, as it were.
It didn't take them long to decide on the area they want to call home.
We chose the Peak District because we spend a lot of time, really, don't we, when the weather's nice, over there walking and eating and visiting friends of ours who live that neck of the woods. It is a very pretty part of the world. We'd like to move to somewhere sort of more peaceful.
Oh, definitely.
Semi-rural, somewhere we can see ourselves relaxing and spending our dotage together. And it'd be nice for the cats too.
And there's one historic Derbyshire home that holds a special place in their hearts, Chatsworth House.
In
That's
fact,
where we spent our first day together.
we did our first proper full day together at Chatsworth. In fact, that's where we took that picture. So it's got a special significance for us.
Yeah.
Despite their romantic associations with the area, they're also pragmatic about location.
We do have to keep an eye on the commuting side of things for our respective jobs. We don't want to go too far away from places like Manchester. So ideally, we're looking at that sort of nearest edge of the Peak District.
When it comes to the ideal property, Hannah has a very fixed vision of the creative scope it needs to give her.
I find it difficult in my head to sort of look at a property that's finished and it doesn't really have the option for me to stamp myself on it and sort of make it perhaps more than it is. So it would be really nice to actually have a place that had that kind of potential for improvement or expansion.
As for Gary, he's excited by a chance to do some serious stargazing.
I've spent most of my life, I reckon, every now and then just being caught by the night sky. I'll be walking along at night and look up and then just suddenly be slightly mesmerised by the amount of stars that you could see. And I remember once I had a lovely holiday with Hannah in a place where there was just no streetlights, and it was so dark that I could see so much detail at night. And I started to think, wow, I'd love to be able to walk out of a place where we're living and be able to see this all the time.
However, their wish list goes further than just wanting a house for them.
It would be brilliant if there was some kind of outbuilding or a garage or, I don't know, some kind of setup where we could possibly do something up and then it would be suitable to rent to walkers. In the long term, that might be a nice retirement idea,
Yeah.
sort of to fund our retirement.
Our property search takes into account their desire to be in the Peak District, but that they also need good road access into Manchester for Hannah's work. We're all meeting up in the area to get a further insight into what it is they're after. This is a lovely spot. Very nice. Welcome to the Peak District.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of the actual property, because we know a lot about the two of you, but what's the spec for the property that you're looking for?
Well, looking for something with a lot of character, detached, hopefully. 2/3 bedrooms, so if it has 2, maybe the scope for 3 bedrooms,
Yeah.
and hopefully the same for reception rooms.
Wait. So 2 to 3 reception rooms?
Yeah, if we could.
What are you looking for there?
Well, room for him to work from home, so maybe
As
a
a
room that we
study.
can use as a study, yeah, and obviously sort of a dining room, hopefully, because we like to entertain, and then a sort of sitting room.
There was talk about a holiday let. Is that serious?
Probably quite serious because we're either thinking that my job is being freelance, it's sometimes busy, sometimes not. So it's nice to have something that you can add on just in case there's quiet times of the year.
And you are choosing to live in quite an expensive area because you obviously
Yeah.
want to be commutable into Manchester,
Yeah.
and the Peak District is very desirable. And presumably you don't want to live in some of the less desirable bits.
No, true.
So what is your budget for this grand move?
Probably about 500,
Okay.
very maximum.
So well, we've found some beautiful properties and they are waiting for your visit. So come with me.
Lovely.
With a top-end budget of £500,000, Gary and Hannah would like a character home that provides them with 2 reception rooms, a separate study for Gary, and ideally 3 bedrooms. They'd also like an outbuilding that could be converted into a holiday let. Although they need good road links to Manchester, they're also keen to enjoy a rural lifestyle. so having the Peak District on their doorstep is vital. I'll be showing them 3 properties that meet that brief, but I'll keep them guessing about the price until the end of each tour. Lastly, there's our mystery house, which, if they're willing to go the distance, delivers a tempting proposition. We're starting our property journey in the small village of Biggin, in the south of the Peak District. This quiet farming village is served by a local pub and has a church built back in the Victorian era. It's popular walking terrain, as it lies close to a local route known as the Tissington Trail. Surrounded by countryside, our first property started life as 2 19th century workers' cottages. Here it is, house number 1. What are your first impressions?
It's,
Oh,
it's,
not many.
it's rendered, and I have a distrust or a concern about what rendering hides. So, yeah.
But apart from that, you can see under the rendering, like the lintels around the window. So.
Yeah.
So this is a footpath past the front of the house, but you do have privacy at the back.
Okay.
And in true country style, we're going to go in the back.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
This way.
Thank you.
Although that was a stony first reaction from Hannah, as we move to the rear of the property to explore inside, the authentic bones of the house are revealed, which should reassure them. Come on in.
Thank you.
So if you close the door behind you, Garrett, keeping the warm, because it's a chilly day out there.
Certainly is.
And this is the kitchen. So what are your thoughts about this space?
It's probably quite workable, really, isn't it? It's, yeah, it's okay.
So we came in there through the little back porch, and then there's the double garage that we saw from the outside, which is office, nice office, and then they turned it into a big boot room with a tumble dryer and washing machine and all that stuff.
Totally useful for the cats.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What about the inside, though? What do you feel inside? Gary?
I'm just thinking how nice and cosy it is, actually.
Well, the coziness continues through here. This is the older part of the property. So this is the 19th century, early 19th century part. And you can see this is the separating wall between the 2 cottages.
It's really thick, isn't it? Yeah.
So you've essentially got 2 reception rooms sort of mirroring each other, both with fireplaces. This one is a gas effect and this is a real one.
Okay. I think this would lend itself to a dining room because it's off the kitchen. And that a sitting room, which it's laid out as. So yeah.
What about you, Gary? What are your thoughts?
I like the flow through from the back of the house through the kitchen and into here.
Well, I'll give you a chance to explore downstairs a bit more later on, but let's have a peek upstairs. Okay. Lead the way, Gary.
Thank you.
So it's this way. Upstairs provides the 3 bedrooms they asked for, which include a spacious double room and a light single, along with a bright family bathroom. But let's see what they make of where they would sleep. This is the biggest of the 3 bedrooms. You wanted 3 bedrooms?
Okay, we did indeed.
This is the biggest.
Okay.
So it's got these great big deep windows and the window seats. That's in common with both the bedrooms on this side.
Yeah, they're very pretty. It's a nice feature.
And with a nice view too, by the look of it.
Yeah. So you can lie in bed and look over the dry stone walls.
Very good.
So that's everything inside. Let's have a peek outside. Just excuse me, just a second. Although they've been very quiet during our tour, I'm hoping we'll get some positive noises when we see the outside space. Along with 2 acres of paddock, giving them stunning rural views, the immediate gardens are pleasantly landscaped and have a useful potting shed, and a summer house for relaxing in. What's more, it gives them the development potential they're after. You have this very substantial stone-built building, which they've converted into a 3-stall stables.
Okay.
Right.
Now, you could do all sorts of things, and if you were serious about wanting to open a B&B or have holiday lets, that would be
lend
the
itself
candidate.
nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact they're separate from the house too, and probably wouldn't encroach too much on the privacy of this little bit. So that would work quite well.
OK, so we know what's involved. How much do you think it costs?
I would probably think towards the top of the budget, say about 475.
OK.
Yeah, I think while we were walking around, I was going with 450 initially, but now you mentioned the paddock and the space around it, I'd go nearer 4752, yeah.
So both top of your budget.
Probably.
Well, this is on the market for, brace yourselves, 499,950.
Okay.
So this is the top of your top
okay.
budget.
Okay.
Yes.
So they wouldn't really leave anything for the
No converting
for
anything,
conversions.
maybe.
No.
So armed with that fact, have a stroll around. I'd like you to look at the extension, because we didn't get a chance to look at, and also to look in the stables, because they're
Yeah.
pretty
Okay.
substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Suddenly looking very serious and businesslike. So you head in,
Cool.
and I will see you out the front.
Okay.
Okay,
Very
thank you.
good.
Our first house falls within their £500,000 price bracket. But it's a stark reminder that finding outbuildings in a sought-after area is going to put pressure on their budget. However, this character cottage does give them 2 reception rooms and 3 bedrooms as they requested, as well as that outbuilding which is ripe for conversion subject to planning consent. Besides an attractive garden, they also get 2 acres of land, all wrapped up in a desirable location in the heart of the Peak District.
Wow. So two decent sized units if we were going to.
Yeah.
But I think it would take quite a bit of money because you'd have to roof like this.
Quite a lot of
quite-
converting to do, I guess, to make it work as a let.
Yeah. When I walked up to the front of the house, I thought it was quite austere looking. When I walked round to the back, I actually thought that was a much more pleasing aspect. Some of the rooms are a little bit small, smaller than I'm used to, realistically. But I do think it's nice and it has a nice feel about it. I'm just not sure it's for me.
My first impression was quite favourable despite the mist. I was thinking the location looks attractive. I could just about make out the hills rolling around, and it just looks like a nice place. The gardens are gorgeous as well, and I was quite blown away by how many outhouses there are.
Guys, oh, there you are. You all done?
Yep, thank you.
So this house is wrapped. We're going to head on to house number 2.
Okay.
Follow me. Derbyshire is a county with a long and rich industrial heritage, blessed as it was with large seams of both coal and iron. Workers' villages sprung up around these industries as they took off, and one family in particular prospered. In 1530, wealthy landowner Roger Sitwell bought and mined local areas rich in these natural elements, to the extent that by the middle of the 17th century, the family handled 1/10 of the nation's iron trade. Today, the family still live in the county at Renishaw Hall, a striking Jacobean mansion which has been home to the Sitwells for around 400 years. As Gary and Hannah are both admirers of historic buildings and gardens, we sent them to meet Alexandra Sitwell, the hall's current owner, and the descendant of a family deeply embedded in the history of the local area.
This room here is the oldest part of the house, and this was built in the early 17th century. And it's really pretty much the sort of nucleus of the house, as you can see, and this fire is going pretty well 24/7.
The most famed of the Sitwells were the literary trio Edith, a poet and critic, and her brothers Osbert and Sacheverell, both authors. Examples of their works are housed here in the family library.
So I understand you have 3 members of the family who were prolific writers.
Yes, my great-aunt Edith Sitwell, who is the eldest, then Osbert and Sacheverell, my grandfather.
Did they write the same kind of thing?
Well, Edith mostly wrote poetry, but having said that, one of her great books was English Eccentrics. Osbert, he's really best known for his autobiography, Left Hand, Right Hand, 5-volume autobiography. And then Sacheverell, Sashi, he wrote a lot of historical books, mostly travel books. The trio really celebrated the avant-garde, and they were great friends of Picasso, T.S. Eliot, Modigliani, so it was the arts as well as literature.
The family's artistic aspirations extended to landscape gardening on a grand scale. In the late 19th century, Sir George Sitwell, Alexandra's great-grandfather, laid out the formal gardens in a classical Italianate style.
I love the fountain because it's wonderfully extrovert. There's a small pond beyond, which is wonderful. This garden's all about architecture and water. And then, of course, this beautiful lime avenue behind me. Some of the trees are 17th century, so they are pretty ancient. And in the spring, we have a carpet of daffodils. It's a most glorious sight.
So, plenty of inspiration and a taste of the county's rich heritage for Gary and Hannah as we return to our search for their dream home in the country. For our second property, we're staying in the Peak District. However, we're just edging into Staffordshire as we make our way to the small village of Sheen. En route to the property, I'm taking our buyers to the larger community of Hartington, which would be their closest pit stop for everyday conveniences. This renowned Peak District village is one our buyers particularly love, and it's easy to see why. With its charming village green, a duck pond, pub and a cheese shop, where we're going to stop off for a chat with co-owner Claire Milner. So you're obviously running a cheese shop, and it's got quite a history of cheese, this village, hasn't it?
Certainly has, yeah. Cheese has been made here since 1862. This was the original creamery, and then just down the back there's a huge cheese factory.
And what would you say are the best things about living here?
I think just the community atmosphere. Everyone's lovely, everyone knows everybody, they all look out for each other. There's plenty to do, good pubs, which is very important.
Are they quite friendly to people coming in from the outside?
Yeah, there's no problem mixing at all, especially if you get down the local pub, you'll be fine.
Well, thank you very much. Good luck with your cheese.
Thank you.
Next time we come by, there'll be
You'll
a
be able
blue
to try
stilton.
some.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Bye, ladies. Thank you. Sorry for disturbing.
Thank you. Bye.
A couple of miles down the road in Sheen, we find our second property, a former coach house dating back to the 1800s, which comes with a detached garage and a long, sweeping driveway. So quite a grand approach, you'll have to agree,
Yes, indeed.
to our second property.
OK.
What are your first impressions of this one?
Better.
Better.
Better. Oh, yes.
More interesting. I
Yeah.
like the original part of it.
This is a listed building,
Is it really? So it's
Grade 2 listed.
But there are what outline plans?
There are plans to extend is for a second garage.
OK.
It doesn't disappoint at all. I'm thinking it's an interesting looking building.
If you took the garage away or did something, I think it's got potential. I can see beyond that, but that looks nice. I'd like to get inside.
Good. That's what we're going to do.
Good.
Come on, then. Let's embrace Hannah's gusto and press on inside. It's worth considering whether instead of a second garage, they could seek planning permission for a self-contained holiday let to sit alongside the main house. Let's come straight into this room.
Right, OK.
You wanted a bit more space.
Yeah.
That's definitely a lot more space, isn't it?
Yeah, that's nice.
Wow.
Nice size.
Looking at the beams and some of the features already, thinking it's quite a lot to take in one room, really. Very nice.
Very nice.
Let's check out some of the other reception rooms across the hall. So, this is obviously one room that goes straight through into here. So can I pull you into here?
Yeah, this works really quite nice as well,
does,
doesn't it?
doesn't
They're all good size. In fact, they're very similar to what I have at home. Yep,
Yeah,
Good. Well, you wanted to transfer.
indeed.
there you go.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, what's lovely is these sliding doors that slide back into the wall.
Uh-huh.
You've got a log burner there, so that's a real fire.
That was nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, through here into the kitchen.
Okay.
It's a different shape from the one before.
Oh,
It works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there is a utility room through here with a sort of
Okay.
old butler sink. Downstairs has got 3 reception rooms you asked for, quite nice and spacious.
Yeah, absolutely.
And upstairs has 4 bedrooms.
Okay.
So one of the big features is this amazing stone staircase.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And you can't ask for a grander way to approach your sleeping quarters than this. The 4 bedrooms upstairs consist of a bright, spacious double, with another set up as a day room. There's also a good-sized single with built-in storage, and a well-presented bathroom. But we're taking a look at where they could be sleeping. This is the one they're using as the master bedroom.
Yeah, good size.
So it doesn't have an ensuite, although actually on both sides of this room, is void.
Okay.
So you could sort of actually put in built-in wardrobes there, or potentially there's water source over there, so you could put an ensuite in. Good.
Yeah.
So, plenty of space.
Yeah.
More spacious.
Yes, indeed.
Let's look outside.
Okay.
This property does give generously on the inside, and from the rear it certainly has presence. And although there are no separate outbuildings, there's no denying it's an attractive setting. So it's a much more contained garden. Sort of it has the terracing and the wall and the interesting architectural features that are more apparent from the back. And then step down to this beautiful view. Let's talk money. How much is it on the market for?
About 480, 485.
I'd imagine it'd still be a good price too, so about 470 maybe.
So this house is on the market for exactly the same price as the last one.
Oh, okay.
999.50.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, I'm afraid the painful truth is it's right top of your budget. So with that piece of knowledge, have another look around and see whether this is a potential property for you.
Okay.
Nipping in under their £500,000 budget again, this house offers them a spacious character home near to a village they love. It gives them 3 reception rooms, a large kitchen diner, and 4 bedrooms, one of which could be Gary's study. Granted, there's no outbuildings, but they could look at planning permission to turn the garage into a small annex to serve as a holiday let. And finally, let's not forget those gardens and the glorious countryside views.
When I walked up, I thought the house was unusual, quite interesting. I liked the original part of it. I didn't like the garage. When I walked in, first thing I noticed was the parquet flooring. I thought that was really nice. And then my eye was drawn to the staircase at the far end, and I thought that was wow. I think the sizes of the rooms are good sizes, and you know we'd have enough room to spread ourselves out, and the cats would have enough space for themselves. So yeah, I think it would work quite well. In terms of the price, I think it's a little bit top heavy at 499. 950, and it doesn't really offer us the potential for the outbuilding that we could do up.
Because it's at the top end of our budget, it doesn't really suggest that we can actually do any work to it. So it would not be something we could actually make into a let after all.
Ooh, back out into the slightly damp Peak District air. But that's it, done for the day. Now we can go and rest and relax, ready for tomorrow.
Cool. Very good.
As the sun sets over the Peak District skyline, it marks the end of a thought-provoking first day's property search. With a budget of £500,000, Gary and Hannah want to head out of Stockport and find a country home in the Peak District, which gives them the scope for a holiday let. The 2 properties they've seen already have illustrated that finding a large house with an outbuilding in the right location comes with its challenges. But coming up, we go on a charm offensive with the Mystery House.
Very nice.
It is,
lovely,
isn't it?
really nice feel to it.
And I get a bird's eye view of how a multi-million-pound conservation project is building a secure future for England's oldest national park. Sometimes I feel like the prophet of doom on this show, telling bright young house buyers that they can't afford to buy their dream home. So I can really understand Hannah and Gary's pain each time I told them that this property is right at the top of your upper budget. But in a way, the Peak District is a very expensive property, particularly if you want outbuildings and lots of space inside. So for the Mystery House, we're going a little further afield, but we're giving them more money to play with. Our Mystery House lies in the Staffordshire village of Colton, on the southern edge of the Peak District National Park. It's the furthest of our houses from Manchester, so we're stretching Hannah's travel time to work, but it might be worth it, as we'll see later. Amenities in Colton include a traditional country pub, a local shop for everyday necessities, and a post office. On the edge of the village is our mystery property, a barn conversion that dates back to the 17th century, which will give them that income potential in the future. You can start looking now. Here it is.
Yeah,
Nice.
liking that.
One of the reasons we brought you here is because of this building, because I think it's actually one of the things that makes this property special. It's a substantial stone outbuilding. It's already, I mean, it's a garage, so it's got a roof and it's got electricity. But we are still inside the Peak National Park, so there's planning issues about putting up new structures.
But not original.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm certainly finding it probably my favourite of the three so far, just by the fact that I'm liking the look of the buildings. Can't wait to see inside, of course, as well.
Should we go inside?
Yep.
Gary is clearly impressed, but Hannah continues to keep me guessing about her thoughts. However, I think when she sees inside, she'll open up a bit. So come in, you get an idea of the place straight from the hall.
Wow, yes.
Magnificent flagstones through into the kitchen. And I think this is a magnificent kitchen.
Ah, wow, indeed.
Wow, that was a wow from you and a wow from you.
Yeah. Fabulous.
I think they've sourced really lovely architectural finds, so these massive beams over the lintels, which might have been reclaimed actually, and then these terracotta tiles, which have been spun upside down to make them look older, and all these reclaimed wood bespoke units. You've got a range that does your heating, which is all filed, and then around a smaller sort of dining area.
Okay. Very nice.
It is,
Lovely,
isn't it?
really nice feel to it.
It's really impressive.
Great first impressions, yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Good. Okay, well, it's pretty simple. Over here is the sitting room.
Nice.
Oh, I like it. Look at the fire.
Yeah, cosy.
Yeah.
I'm starting to read your face now. This is now your sort of... Is it nice enough?
I would get one of those lovely oak conservatories, and they've got loads of space here, and then we'd have another reception room, because I think we need another reception room. It is nice, and we could do it, but I would still like another one.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, so that was one of our, okay, this is a compromise. But another compromise, which not everyone's keen on, is the downstairs bathroom. However, quite a bathroom.
Right.
Gary, look, it's got one of those.
That intake of breath from Hannah is a clear signal to me that the period features of this property are impressing and exciting them. Upstairs, as requested, there are 3 bedrooms. They're all in the eaves and are light and airy due to well-positioned skylights. One is currently being used as a study, but we'll head to the room that could be claimed as theirs. This is currently being used as the master.
Very nice.
Ah.
Got a similar bed
Oh, look at that one.
surround. So, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
I like.
So lots of smiles, lots of I likes. Are we happy with the inside? Because it is a smaller property. Well, the mood is still very upbeat, and the potential of that substantial stone outbuilding is well worth serious consideration, as it could be converted for use as a holiday let with the proper permission. So let's head to the back garden and reveal how much it's all worth. Look, and they've got goats. Hello.
Cute.
They're cute. And the land is big. It goes all the way back to that oak tree at the bottom. So it's big and wide and long, so space for some goats. Hello. Or some chickens. What do you think of the land?
Oh, the landscape around is gorgeous, isn't it? There's a lovely hill just overlooking the house itself.
So how much do you think all this costs?
I'd say about 450.
450.
Well, I'm hoping, of course, that it's a lot lower than it was for the other houses, so, I don't know, 470 maybe?
470. Well, this property is on the market for £425,000.
Same as mine.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
So plenty of
interesting,
scope.
yeah.
So plenty of scope, because
Wonderful,
that gives you, well, 25 grand or 75 grand, depending on how you look at it, to do the holiday let and maybe put the conservatory on.
Right, yeah.
Doable.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. All of a sudden, that's good news.
That's very good
After
news,
yesterday's high-enders, yeah. Cool.
So go back inside and have a look around. You've already done quite a lot of knocking down and rebuilding, which I like. And then we'll meet out the front.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes!
Happy, smiley faces. That's what we love on this show. That and goats. Hello.
On the market well under budget at £425,000, our mystery property takes our buyers out of their comfort zone in terms of location, but offers them a great home and a development opportunity for the future. It has a beautiful country kitchen, a living room with feature fireplace, 3 bedrooms and a show-stopping bathroom, and an outbuilding that could be converted into a self-contained holiday let.
Here's the study. I like the herringbone
Yeah.
brick again. I could see,
It's nice.
I could see perhaps wanting to relocate the bathroom from downstairs up here because I think this would make a nice bathroom. My favourite room is definitely the kitchen. It's just, well, it's the biggest. It's great because it's sort of got a real farmhouse feeling about it. There's lots of wood, lots of reclaimed, lots of sort of exposed stone. From the point of view of the outbuilding, a reasonable accommodation for a sort of a let. I think the fact that it's sort of sideways onto the house is a good thing, and there's obviously no windows overlooking, so we'd still be able to have our privacy, but people could come and go from the front without much disruption, which would be ideal.
It might seem that to be fairly small initially, but after a bit you feel as though there's an awful lot to explore, so it feels a little bit bigger. And then with the holiday let on top, it really has got an awful lot of potential.
This is actually a lovely terrace. You've got actually a very nice terrace here as well. Little patio is quite private. Well, your guests could have that.
They could.
Look at you. Oh, chings, like it belongs to you already. But I'm going to have to tear you away. So pull the door behind you. Let's go off.
Okay.
Kinder Scout is a windswept plateau covered in moorland, most of which stands at around 600 metres above sea level. It is one of the most iconic landscapes in the Peak District, home to a variety of wildlife, and it was here in 1932 that the mass trespass protest took place. However, now it's also one of the most damaged areas of moorland in the UK, and its future is in jeopardy as a result of overgrazing, air pollution, and the corrosive effects of thousands of walkers. I've come to meet Area Ranger Sheen Bates of the National Trust, who is leading a £2.5 million conservation project in the hope of saving the moor.
So this is part of the solution, I'm guessing.
It is, yeah. It's sandstone, which we use because it's a local stone, and we're using it to make dams in the peat gullies on the top of the moor.
Right. Presumably that goes up there by the chopper, which I can hear, because it's too far or it's too remote to get to.
Yeah, the distances involved are quite large, and also using a land-based vehicle would cause more damage.
Sort of defeats the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm quite excited to get up there. I'm particularly excited about being in the chopper.
Shane is taking me to see an area of damaged peat bog that is in the process of being restored. But on the way, I'm getting an overview of the extent of the damage.
You can see here the boggy peat.
Oh, there, yeah, the black stuff, yeah.
Oh. So that's good, that's
Not
secure.
too bad there, yeah.
And is this where it's been starting to be eroded?
Yeah, you can see some of the gully farms now
Oh, right.
on this side.
So the gullies are where it's starting to wash away?
Yeah, yeah.
The project started last year and is set to run until 2016. The local sandstone is used to dam the gullies, re-landscaping them to catch the peat, thereby preventing further peat loss.
It's very robust, the peat, isn't it?
Yeah, bear in mind that we've actually spread chopped heather on all this, and it's been seeded with grasses as well.
So it's already, you can see that it's already starting to hold.
Yeah, and you can see now how it's starting to hold the water back, and the water in the gully systems actually keeps the peat on the sides wetter as well, which makes it more stable. Just over the period of this project, we've seen huge advances in the amount of vegetation, and I've been coming up onto Kinder for the best part of 50 years, and the differences now are just incredible compared to what it was like when I was a kid.
The high carbon content of peat makes it vital in the combat of climate change, and is also a habitat for a wealth of wildlife. So this preservation project is definitely an essential one. But now it's time to address another important issue as we find out if our buyers have made a decision on the 3 properties we've shown them.
So here we are, the end of our little Peak District odyssey. 3 houses that we saw, and spinning back the clock to yesterday morning, seems like a long time ago, the very first house we showed you, what are your thoughts about that now?
It was a good impression initially. When we were first turning up, we thought it seems to be out in the wilds, very nice looking area. So it started well.
I'm not sure Hannah agrees entirely. It didn't seem that you were totally convinced from the beginning.
A little bit disheartened in that, you know, yes, we had the house, yes, we had the outbuildings, but actually, because it was the top end of the budget, we actually couldn't have afforded to have done anything with them.
What about the second house? Because this was the other way around, really. Lots of space inside, not so much potential outside.
The accommodation was fine in that we had the 3 reception rooms that we'd asked for. Kitchen was a bit dated, although you had the space in that instance as well. There was nothing external that had the potential for being done up for let.
And the mystery house? This one seemed to be a winner.
It seems to be in a very good location. You could see the potential straight away with the building at the front, the garage. So yes, it was more of a build-up than a let-down this time.
What about you, Hannah?
Just a nice feel to the place. You could see the eye was drawn straight into the kitchen, and that was really quite nice. Farmhouse kitchen, very rustic. Yeah, a lot of space and character.
So it seems that there's been a sort of familiar struggle between your aspirations, what you want in the house, and the budgetary constraints of where you're looking.
Mm-hmm.
And has certain things come into focus? Are you clear about what you could compromise on and what you won't compromise on?
I think the proximity of the first 2 properties to Hartington, village of Hartington, probably would have been reflected in the price. Perhaps we'd be prepared to sort of, you know, move that boundary slightly and look at other alternative routes and sort of see how we could access, you know, the main routes in and out of that, and actually perhaps rethink on that basis to end up with what we wanted. So.
And what happens next? Are you going to revisit the mystery house? Would you put in an offer when you sell your property?
I think we'll definitely ask for another viewing. So yeah.
Sounds like a very strong response.
Yep.
Well, it's been wonderful showing you around the Peak District, and I do hope, well, it'd be lovely if you bought the mystery house, but wherever you live, I hope it's a joy.
Yeah, very worthwhile, and we've had a great time looking and having some food for thought, so brilliant, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I thought we were going to come a cropper midway through this show because Gary and Hannah particularly, had very strong, energetic responses to those first 2 high-in-the-budget properties, and they weren't always positive. But the mystery house, well, there the energy came to our side. Hannah was planning to bring in builders and build a conservatory, which is generally a sign of positive intent. So I hope that they go ahead and buy the mystery house, and I hope that you join us next time for more Escape to the Country.
If you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or England and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/beonashow.